good job on the Monster Wrangler game, Brian.
Thanks.
I thought we'd use this episode to kind of get everybody's thoughts, as we often do when we play a new system, and see what everybody thought about this. Let us go around the horn and let's go alphabetical. Matthew, what did you think of Monster Wrangler?
Wait, how am I first? Okay.
M comes before R and F.
Alphabetical by first name.
Yep.
Oh, right. I was thinking Brian, but no, Brian ran the game.
Brian,
I'm actually impressed with how easily I was able to grasp some of the more difficult concepts. When we were doing the previous game, I know we had the issues where my alligator was always going the wrong direction. But I feel like this one, in some ways, kind of simplifies bits and pieces of that, although I'm sure, that's helped by the macros that were put in the system. But I also... This is a game that appeals to me because there are points where it feels like you get to a point in the rules, you're like, oh, well, we didn't think of that. That's always fun for me as a player because you get to that point where you're like, oh, man, what are we going to do? And then, as a unit or, Brian is like, well, I'll make the final decision, but we all get to kind of pitch something and go, well, what if you just caught fire? But of course, any game where I get to ride around on the back of a steam-powered Tyrannosaurus Rex, I feel like, that's a winner for me. 5 stars.
Rob, what about you? You're a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah, I love Pokemon. The game I really like how the game system functions. I think it runs into the same problem that I've had with every Pokemon variant or every attempt at emulating Pokemon as a TTRPG in that things like tournament structures mean you're going to have one-on-one with the DM and whatever player while however many people sit aside. Things like with the bank combat where all of us had our 2 monsters out. So there was 8 monsters plus 4 players plus then all of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like just the player side was 12 different turns. I don't think any of these systems are going to be good for the usual D&D party size. 4 already pushed it a little too much, and a lot of parties I've seen recently from anything is definitely more than that.
Oh yeah, you're talking about other TTRPG groups where it's like 6 to 8 people in the party.
Yeah.
So what is the optimal size, do you think, for people playing this game? 1 GM, 2 players?
2 or 3, and it's going to be very figure out a good back and forth between the GM and the players to start with to figure out what types of stories they want to be doing. So if it is someone wants to become the champion, everybody's on board with yes, there's going to be some tournament arcs that people are going to be sitting to the sidelines for, or the structure becomes I think we pitched it last week, but we thought the idea of 2v2 fights where it's 2 players at once would have been really good, especially with our party makeup specifically.
Yeah. Rodrigo, what do you think?
Specifically about this game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah.
This Chronicle, I think Brian did a great job. I think he really trusted the system in a way that I did not going in. I had a lot of anxieties about it, and towards the end, they mostly went away, largely because it's that the bank combat had 20 characters, right? But it wasn't longer than some 4th edition combats in which
Oh yeah.
There were like in which there were like 10 characters, right? So it's like once everybody knows what their monsters are doing, it's actually not that difficult. It, as every game does, and especially games where there isn't a game master like facing part, puts a ton of work on the game master, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when you're preparing monsters, you have to know what those monsters do, and there's no getting around the fact that you have to know them. Once you know what the monster's gimmick is, or generally what they're doing, I'm sure it becomes a lot easier. And like we saw Brian get there in real time, right? From like checking a monster sheet over and over and over again to running those spiders, I would say very efficiently.
Yeah.
So I think definitely Monster Wrangler has the sauce in that it has that good tactical, synergistic, interactive sort of combat that on the one hand can be broken if you go in trying to break it, or just kind of by accident you stumble on an interaction that works too well. But also has a satisfying mechanical aspect, which is something that I really appreciate in a game, like this, D&D 4th edition, Panic at the Dojo, Lancer. And I think, Monster Wrangler has that. It's just doing it in its own weird little way, and you have to get used to it.
Yeah. I like tactical RPG games. I like sitting there before my turn trying to figure out, okay, what's the optimal thing for my character to do in this situation, and then Rob goes before me, and I have to scramble at the last second to come up with something new. I like games where we all get to participate. I like games where we get to role play, and some people don't like role play, and nobody here, I don't think, hates role play or doesn't like role play. I think everybody likes to role play, but I know I've been in groups where people are like, "No, role play is not big in our group," and that's fine. But I like the role play in this. I like him putting myself into all of these characters, whether it is a Gen Alpha or whether it is a drill sergeant or whoever. And I like the combat in this system. I think works really well. But I did say to Brian, I think it was not something that we recorded, I do not like the tournament system here, because as Rob alluded to, if it's a 1 VGM, everybody else has to sit there and do nothing for the entire time. And maybe that's fine for a lot of other people that are not recording a podcast, because they can go sit on the couch and eat chips or drink a beer, or sit in the corner and chat while the tournament part is going on. But I like to optimize game time. My time is always so short. My free time, I don't have any. And so if I want to sit down and play a game, and then I'm like, oh, well, this week you're going to sit here as, one other player plays the entire the entire time that we have. That's not fun to me. And so I think the biggest problem that I have with this game is the 1 VGM tournament style. Now, I think there's other ways you could do it where it literally is PvP, where you do have like Rob and Rodrigo, or Matthew or Rodrigo going against each other. I think that would be interesting to do in a tournament style. But that was my least favorite part of this entire game, is being sidelined. And I don't know, that's me. I think a lot of other people also don't like to be sidelined for an entire session. That's just me.
Brian on that front. He did set it up so as if we had actually won more than
if we had actually done what we were supposed to do. No, I think
we would have been facing each other in the tournaments.
Yeah.
No,
as I said before,
middle brackets, but
I do like how Brian set everything up, and again, this is nothing against Brian, but I think that this is how the system kind of wants you to play so that you're always just not fighting each other, but that you are going to have to fight other people in tournaments. And so that's a good taste of that. And that's just not my preferred style of play. And that's okay. That's me. Other people may really enjoy that. I did enjoy the battles. I do like that none of us talked about our characters with one another before the first game.
Yeah.
Right. So we come in and suddenly we realize, oh no, here's a monster that totally screws up things that we would want to do with our monsters. Rob.
Sure.
But that's also kind of the fun, right? Because then when we got into the big bang fight, when I realized, oh, I kind of want my creatures close to Rob so I can generate that more rage, or not to Rob, but to Fern, to generate more rage. That was when you start to see how you can synergize some of these things. So overall, I've kind of got a mixed bag on this. I would probably put this, and again, this is nothing against Brian. This is literally just the game system itself. I probably put this on the lower half of the RPG games that we have played. Brian, what are your thoughts after running this game?
Yeah, I do have to kind of also give it a mixed bag rating. I think I would, probably rate it higher than what it seems like you may be placed it. But no, I had a lot of fun with this, but there are definitely a lot of weird idiosyncrasies with this. I think just everyone having their monsters around, and I'm pretty sure they specifically wanted to do their own thing and avoid having basically in-world Pokeballs or some other magical containment transportation devices for the creatures. But I kind of feel like you really kind of need to do that for the sake of not, especially, since by the rules, different characters are going to have a different capacity to have monsters around. So that's going to make things just,
that does bring up a good question, right? I mean, certainly we're in the tournament, but if we don't have Pokeballs to put our monsters into, what happens when Rob is sitting on the bench right next to the field with Fern, and Cackles flies a little bit too close to the edge of the field and is within Fern's zone?
Yeah, and I mean, there's things for that. There's I forget what they
blinders. Put blinders on him. He won't know.
There is a roll to a mischief check that you make for the monsters to kind of just add some spice every now and again. Now, largely as something I had not explored in our playthrough, but that is definitely things that could have potentially happened. But I kind of feel like there's enough complications I didn't want to really add more.
I think Monster Wrangler really is not trying to be Pokemon, right? And you really have to pull a lot of that stuff out of your brain. True. And be like, this game actually is trying to do something different, which I appreciate, but that also means that you're fighting it the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Well, but it also doesn't help that you're going out and capturing monsters, and then you're having them battle for you.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that is the base of what Pokemon is, but if that's how you set up this game, or that's how the game system is set up,
of our
it's hard to get away from it.
You're on Pokemon's turf, but I don't necessarily know that they're
filed the serial numbers off.
Well, it's not even as differentiated as you would expect it to be, because Rodrigo's right. It's not Pokemon, but there are points where it's obviously influenced enough that if you don't know Pokemon, you might actually miss bits and pieces of things. Because I got nothing on Pokemon. I saw an episode of it in the 90s. But there are no, I can't even pronounce them all. There's one that has 3 heads though. But I also feel like, if you're kind of having to weave and bob through that, where we want to make sure that people who want to play a Pokemon type game know that this is out here and it's in that same genre, for lack of a better word. But you also, I feel like it maybe doesn't carve enough of its own individual to say this is what's different, or this is what will stand out for you that's different than a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid looking in that mirror and not seeing a Pokemon looking back. There is one thing that I want kind of everybody's feedback on, because it really kind of popped up a couple of sessions ago, I think, when Snickers got taken down, and then again in the final game where Cackles took down the slime. Is it a slime guy? The Amorph?
The Aspic. Yeah.
The Aspic. Ugh, gross. It had carrots and bits of grapes floating in it.
Hot dogs and yellow jelly.
There is this idea that these creatures can die.
Yeah.
And the characters can also die. And while you can play as adults, this game heavily encourages you to play as kids, often between the ages of 10 and 17. It could have been really bad if Samuel or somebody else got clocked really hard and died. That to me is a little bit uncomfortable. I know some of you have some really big thoughts on child endangerment. But then again, we play Pokemon. What is the new one out? Za or whatever that is out.
Pizza, the one that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah. So I don't know. What did you guys think about that, where you have children in mortal jeopardy?
So that's what I mean about the fact that this game's trying to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are not, like, when a monster fight breaks out, your character's not separate from it. They are there, and they are in the same danger that everything else. And there's nothing stopping a trainer from being like, okay, monster, attack that trainer. And in fact, is probably, if what you're looking to do is win that fight, is not a bad idea. I actually heavily considered having Cackles attack Carrie during that bank fight.
Yeah, that's why
just to, like,
I was hoping that Samuel could have gone up behind her and whacked her really hard.
So the only issue that I have with it is, having read through the book, although not read through the adventure that comes with the book, so maybe that addresses it a little bit more, is that I feel like the book doesn't spend enough time kind of prepping you for that. To be like, the world of Monster Wrangler is extremely dangerous. And, if you look at these stats and you look at your stats, that means that, like, probably children die every once in a while doing this. It's like, you guys remember when we went to that ski resort for a convention and we were talking to the guy, and the guy's like, yeah, we only have like 1 or 2 people die every year. And it's like, I was like, what? Like,
at the ski resort. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. People die at, like, skiing all the time. And I was like, what? And it's like, that doesn't stop people from skiing. Right. And I think the book could have floated that to be like, in Amoria or whatever, is like, people really love their monster wrangling and they push kids to become monster wranglers. And every once in a while, one of the other kids has to walk a kid's bike back home because they didn't make it, out of that weird cave that they decided to go into.
That just suddenly made me just feel all sorts of creep.
Yeah. So, but you can run that game, right? You can do that. Like,
yeah, you can. Yes.
We watched like Stranger Things, right? Which has like a decidedly, like, Stranger Things season 1, very dark themes. And the characters are like kids. They're like 10 or 11, right?
Yeah.
So, well, one of them's definitely 11. But so you can do that if ahead of time you're like, we're going to play this game. The monsters are dangerous. The kids are in peril. And the adults have kind of decided that if you lose a few kids every year during monster adventures, that's just the risk we take in our national pride as, like, the monster country that one time beat the robot country.
Yeah. Pokeball, never used.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We could make a monster that's like the spirit of dead children.
Say what?
I mean, yes. Right? But so let me be the devil's advocate and flip that around the other side. You don't have to make the game be where kids or Pokemon die. They could just be really exhausted and have to go to the hospital, and the Pokemon have to go to the farm to heal forever and never have to deal with death.
Yeah, I pretty much said from the beginning, I'm pretty much just taking character death off the table. I wasn't even bothering with injuries for quite a while. Other than just that very last fight where it kind of could have mattered, but totally didn't.
Well, but
kind of swept the tournament. Yeah,
but thank you. But is that the intention of the game? Right? It's like we talk about some of these mechanics, and it's like it's kind of crazy that like Rob's character and my character had the potential to have 3 monsters with them. It's like, well, is that possibly because one of those monsters can easily die, and then it's like, okay, well, now I'm back to 2 monsters on the lookout to get a 3rd baby monster, right?
Yeah, I think that's why there's like a breeder class, so that you can have like a escalating
you can have a place to put your monsters too if you catch more monsters than you can handle. Yeah.
This is not a 1.0 version of this game, is it? Or is it?
I mean, it's
1.0 version.
It's the only edition I'm aware of this game.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so no errata, nothing, none of that has been released. So I think for a 1.0 game, I think this is pretty solid.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of potential here, and they seem to be working on additional stuff. The game company does have a Patreon that they release some extra stuff on, and they mention mention future supplements in the works. So I'd really hope that they continue to make stuff, and that'd be my ultimate wish, is that hopefully there's eventually a 2nd edition that kind of maybe addresses some of these concerns we have.
This is Blackout Games is the company that puts this out, and I will say that it seems so. Those of you who understand game mechanics more than I, so that's everybody. In the new supplements that have been released, especially in the bank robbery one, we had the little starfish guy show up, and that is from the most recent Patreon exclusive.
Yeah.
Is there power creep going on? Is there weird power creep going on as they start introducing more of these monsters to where at some point you don't want to play a Pikachu?
I think there might be. I mean, like a lot of Rodrigo stuff came from a supplement, and even a homebrew monster, and there seemed to be some things there that was a little bit more powerful, maybe, or just maybe just happened that we got lucky on some interactions that.
I think if you go through the book, like the original book, right? It's like we are new at this game. Like there are a lot of like actually really powerful interactions.
Yeah.
That we did not touch on because nobody picked that monster, or because we didn't pick like a particular secondary trait that is meant to like really synergize with some aspect. Some of the new stuff but like sort of like, for example, like the Fern Key is a is a supplemental monster, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's also from the Patreon.
Yeah. So it like, to me, that is very much, I think, where they like dialed all the dials up, where it's like, here's this ability that's powerful, but it's like tempered by the fact that it's also like causes you problems.
Yeah.
That Crocagator monster seemed really strong, but again, consider that Carrie had a class that was synergistic with the tournament format, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, Garrett didn't, and I feel like there was one other one of us.
The Womburn, Pyro also didn't.
Right.
A lot of his stuff was built upon having other creatures, friendly creatures in combat with him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much of it was that format just really benefited that monster?
Yeah.
We literally did meet that monster later, and it didn't make that big of a splash. Like, it actually was so slow that it didn't make it into the fight.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
So that's something, right? It's like if you're in if you're in a field and you're not allowed to leave that field, then that monster is very scary. If Cackles is allowed to move its like 50 feet of movement, it can move every turn, then that monster is like literally not a problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think, Rodrigo, you were the only one, maybe Brian, you created an original creature.
An original monster, yeah.
Yeah.
I made a
Are you
few,
the only one?
they didn't quite. You guys basically didn't follow those trails, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What
Okay.
what was it? Like, can you give us like a little?
Well, one of them was just like a little psychic mushroom thing, so it had psychic and spore type. Uh, so just had some basic abilities there. Nothing too. I mean, the main balance issue I kind of ran with that is both of those types really key off of the energy stat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that
if
is.
you guys caught that, you guys could have just power trained energy and probably been very powerful with that.
That is a thing. When you look at this game and they give you the tools to make things, it's like some of the combinations, energy in particular. So many things are keyed off of energy that it's like if you're like, I'm gonna make a fire and electricity monster, right? Just because you have a concept for it, it's like, oh, well, either I have to like purposefully gimp its energy. That's probably not a correct thing to say nowadays. It'll like, reduce its energy and not give it as much energy as you could to make it as powerful as possible. Because both electricity and fire are going to be keyed off of energy. So when I was making my own monsters, I ran into that. I actually made a second monster, which was like a monster birthday cake. But I didn't get as far as writing like lore for it and getting a picture.
Did you think it was difficult to create the creatures, the monsters?
No, it's actually really easy.
Yeah.
And again, like, the Sepulchroak, which is the one that I made up, we never got to see him as an adult, so we never got to see what its max capabilities were. So it's hard to tell if I made something that was balanced. To me, once we started playing it, I was like, this actually feels a little on the weak side, which is good. I was very much trying to not make something that was overpowered, but I've gotten a chance to play it as an adult. Maybe it could be tweaked a little bit and made to just be right at that baseline, right? But it's actually very easy. If you have a concept for a monster, it's actually very, very easy to make a new monster. And once you take that and you apply it to the other monsters, you can see that they're made through the same process. And it's the traits, right, that kind of give a monster that zest and that potential to break out and be more overpowered. And you just have to kind of, figure out what you want for that monster specifically. I think some of those monsters probably make great monsters that you fight, but bad monsters that you train and vice versa.
Yeah, and that was always a concern of mine. It's like, okay, what monsters am I willing to throw at them that I don't want them to then take and then have as their own?
Yeah, and I think
Rob.
I think that's another thing that this game probably kind of needs is like a reason for that to not work. To be like, sometimes you fight a monster and they're surrounded by spectral baby versions of themselves that are not real monsters and you can't actually catch. Right. So there's something, but also all the monsters are made through the same process, and maybe it's okay. You just let your players have that like fire dragon iguana. Like maybe it's okay.
That maybe is a good thing to do. I mean, when I saw that chapter of the manual, I was just like, nope, sorry, this is an insta skip for me. I have to learn the rules first before I even think about trying to build something. But that might be a good exercise for people that are doing this in a group, is for the GM to just sit down and say, okay, everybody, you get to create your own creature for this upcoming session or something, so that everybody has that chance to really explore what can happen and do it in a group setting. Because I might be sitting there going, I don't know, I want a water Pokemon. And then
Right.
somebody else might be going, no, you want to mix water and electricity together because look how crazy that would be. And then you're like, oh, yeah, okay. And just build it up together. So, yeah, it seems like it's pretty easy to do. But if you're coming into the game brand new, maybe hold off for a little bit, maybe, unless you're really comfortable with building new characters. Matthew, I'm curious something you said earlier. You said that you thought this was the easiest game mechanically for you to understand and get behind, if I remember the quote exactly.
Mhm.
What about this game made it easy for you to get into or to understand the rule set or your character sheet?
Well, I still don't necessarily understand exploding, but
Yeah.
in terms of the way the dice pools work, feels logical to me.
Mm.
When Brian is like, you have a strength of 3, we have to roll 3 or have bonuses to take us over 3. When we get past 3, your attack gets more powerful.
Mhm.
So, one of the things in Dungeons and Dragons that always frustrated me was we did have a critical hit at, 19 or 20, depending on your thing. But it always made me wonder, why isn't a success of 12 better than a success of 10? And this game does kind of have that, where if something happens, you
Oh,
can build,
sure.
you can have that overpower, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
always
yeah.
a big fan of that.
Yeah, I think this game also would be a lot more fun to play in person because you do get to chuck so many D6s
Oh,
in the game or
D10s.
D10s. Yeah, D10s.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
rolling 10 D10s. The noise, the clatter, the crawling on the floor for 20 minutes looking for that one that got away.
It's
I
10.
think that would be a
It
lot of
totally was
fun.
10. Don't look, but it
Yeah.
totally was. It was a 10.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think so. Rodrigo did something way back when we were doing the Void Saga stuff that really helped in the last arc of the piece, which was like, hey guys, think of your character turn in terms of a spreadsheet or a flow chart.
Mhm.
And once he did that and kind of showed it to me, I was like, oh yes, this makes complete sense. It's so much easier to understand the character and the flow of the character. And I tried to do that on this one where it's just like, okay, first thing, get your free clearance thing, then generate your rage, then do this. And so it is very step by step oriented as far as what you're going to do. And if you know how much rage you have, that of course narrows down the attacks that you can do. And then you can decide if it's worth it to do that attack or hold and get more rage the next round. So I agree with you, Matthew, that once you understand the rage and the um, bonus dice and the exploding dice,
Mhm.
then it suddenly becomes a lot more interesting to gamble your turn
Yeah.
with the roll of the dice. Now, Rob may have mathed it all up and said, actually, the percentage of chance of you getting this is this. I don't know if Rob, if you went that far down the rabbit hole on this or not.
No, more dice go clacky, make bigger numbers.
There you go. There you go. What else? What other things did you guys think about this game?
For me, the points where, like, we had an episode that was basically Rob in combat, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, it didn't necessarily have the maybe the cinematic moment, or kind of it wasn't something where I was sitting here and going, I'm bored. I was listening to Rob play. I was watching the thing go.
Sure.
And my wife has a concept that she's really huge on because she's on the TikTok, but she calls it parallel play. And she thinks it's lovely when sometimes we are both in the room. She's playing her video game and I'm playing my video game. We're both perfectly content. We're both perfectly happy. We're not
Mhm.
necessarily directly interacting, but we're
Right.
both having fun and we are together. And I think that concept really made those episodes where, like, Rodrigo's last big blast in the tournament, that was something I was listening to all the way
Sure.
through, never,
Yeah.
and it was
I-
nice. It was interesting. That's an experience from tabletop gaming and RPG gaming that you don't always see in a live play environment, especially as
Yeah.
Rob alluded to,
So
when it's
that
16,
is-
17, 19 people on board. So
Yeah, so that's one of the problems that, and Brad and I talked about this at length multiple times on GM Roundtable and in other places. When you are doing something for a podcast, sometimes live play, when you're saying I move over here, doesn't mean anything to anybody listening, and so you have to really describe. I'm going to run 15 feet away from the creature, or I'm going to run to the center of the ring, and you have to think. All of us have to think more descriptively when we are talking about what's going on in our combat. Otherwise, it's like, I'm going to spend 5 rage and I'm going to do my bite attack and I just move here and bite. And that does not really descriptive. And so, I mean, it is the game and that's how the game plays. Yeah. But for someone listening at home, oftentimes I get the idea that, oh, this is not maybe as exciting as it could be. And so I was going to pitch this, but I decided against it because we were all still learning the game and I didn't want it to be a distraction from the actual tournament play. But I was going to pitch that 2 of us, either myself or Matthew and Rodrigo, be the announcers.
I had the same idea.
Color
for one of us to do play-by-play and the other one to do color. Yeah.
Yes,
I had that exact same idea.
So if Rob is like, Fern moves here, and it's like, oh, that's a gamble move to see the Tofurkey run across the field like that. I wonder what the play is here, Carl. And then, somebody chimes in like that. I think that might have, as I was complaining, I know Matthew said, I'm content just being with people. I think that may have made that part. It gives me purpose when I show up to a game, but I'm not playing. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Truly,
well, I'm glad, Rodrigo, you and I were
spectacle on the field.
I'm glad, Rodrigo, you and I were on the same page on it. But again, I didn't want to pitch it just because I didn't want to cause problems. Yeah.
For the exact same reason I didn't pitch it either. I thought if for some reason, Stephen, you wanted to make 50 times more work for myself, that's something that could be done in post.
I thought about doing that too, but I was just like, nope, not going to do it.
But no. So that aside, you guys have brought up a lot of stuff that I want to talk about.
Sure. Where do you want to start?
So let's start with being in the same place. It is like, I don't want to like fault anybody or downplay anybody's feelings. If you were to show up to a game and then your character sits in the bleachers for 2 hours or 3 hours or however long, right? And if you feel frustrated by that, that's perfectly fine. But I am definitely at a point, like there was at least one game where Narcissus didn't play, right? I think each of us probably had at least
each of us have had one
full session where our character didn't play. And so I was happy to be there and to kind of watch in character as Narcissus, and every once in a while throw something out, but not too much because you also don't want to like interrupt things. Right. So I think that is something you can do, and I think there's a lot of like role play, like real role play theater kid babies out there.
Sure.
And I mean that in the best possible way, who I think would enjoy that, who I think might enjoy watching other people in character while they are also in character, and do their thing.
I think we all did that to an extent, more or less, even if it was just go for it or oh no, or that kind of stuff.
While I'm here, I'd also like to point out that I think everybody made a lot of strong character choices that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, Samuel really, I think, stood out to me, being like a food insecure kid, and all the clear issues like just below the surface that he was having. I enjoy that, like when Rob, when Toby lost, that he just kind of disappeared for a while, which is classic Rob of being like, I have made a strong character decision for my character. I will not talk for the next half an hour. It's like, Rob, this is an audio podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were going to say something about...
well, no, I was going to say, well, two things. I want to back up.
Yep.
When you're talking about being able to sit there, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
I enjoyed watching you guys play, but I also wanted to play.
Totally. Totally.
At the same time, though, knowing how Rob tries to maximize his characters in all of their situations, like when Rob's out there, I'm paying attention to what Rob's doing because it's like, okay, what is the technique he's using, and how can I use that when I bring out my character, when it's my time to do something. So it is interesting to see how everybody game plays in that situation. So, did you add something else that you wanted to say and address here? I'll come back around to the character bits here in a minute.
Yeah, I did, but now I can't remember exactly what the other thing was, other than the nice thing about watching people play on their own is that it gives you time to actually look at like their stats, right? It's like we sort of, unfortunately, too late, probably sussed out what like Julius wanted to be doing, what the Alkalim wanted to be doing. And that only came about because, the rest of us weren't trying to juggle two monsters at once. So we were able to kind of look at what Matthew was doing, and that went for all of us, where we're like, oh yeah, this like vine lift power does this and this, but gets turned off by this, and kind of having that in mind because we saw it showcased on a one-on-one fight. So that was interesting. That was kind of an interesting exercise.
Yeah. Let's go around and tell everybody's backstories or what you wanted to do. I think everyone figured out, at least by the second time, that Narcissus woke up and Samuel was sitting on the edge of the bed, just kind of nervously sitting there, not knowing what to do, and keeping his clothes clean by washing them in the sink. Very early on, I had set it up that his parents had died, and he had been on his own since he was 6, and he met Snickers like on the first night that he was out on his own. He didn't want to go to an orphanage or anything like that. And so he is, as the Scrounger character, somebody who is homeless and is always trying to find a place or try to figure out a way to make money so that he can have his own home again and do things again. So that is why he becomes came off as money motivated and foodie and a foodie, because food is scarce when you are homeless and on your own. And so then when I was talking with Brian about that, that's where the police officer came in, because sometimes you take things that you're not supposed to, and you get caught up in the law, and they try to put you in an orphanage because you don't have parents, and you break out again. And so there is that aspect of that character that was kind of the driving, motivating force behind this. So that's why Samuel was always eager to eat. That's why he's always like trying to keep clean, and that is always why he is always wondering, where's the money? Where can I find things to buy the cool things like a cell phone that he doesn't have? So those were the kind of he comes from that group. And that was something that I'm glad that Brian was like, yeah, sure, let's figure out how we can make that work. But still have that Gen Alpha kind of energy to him as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Matthew, what about you?
It is my firm conviction that somewhere 3 or 4 towns away, near the Namtech factory, there's a perfectly normal couple of parents, maybe, like a teacher and a guy who lifts boxes, and they're wondering, where did our son go? That's that I think is the thing that
distracted
really
parents, or don't
not
care.
Necessarily distracted parents. They're like, our son is missing. They may even be looking for him. I don't know. I didn't really, run any of that past Brian, but it's just one of those moments where sometimes when you're a child, you're an idiot. I'm not saying I did this myself, but you go and you do something and you don't tell people that you're doing something, and maybe you're gone for like 3 days and everybody panics, and it turns out you were perfectly fine and you thought everybody knew where you was or where you were. Wow, that was a little tiny bit of Midwest coming through. I apologize for the inconvenience there. But yeah, I feel like literally everything that Garrick Fortney said is straightforward because he's not a very particularly good liar. And while he's kind of clever, he's not particularly shrewd. So yeah, he literally found a monster, was like, oh man, there's a whole lot of this one left, built it, and then went off to have an adventure without really thinking about the consequences of that. So, you can imagine 2 or 3 episodes down the line, some angry parents showing up and dragging their feral child back and making him go to school again.
I'm also curious because both you and Rob took a trait. What is it called? Not stupidity, but it's basically like
Loudmouth.
Loudmouth, I think is what it is. Is that what it is? Where it's like you can retire from the fight, and Rob was like, "No, I can't. I've got this
overconfident
trait."
Overconfident.
Yeah. So I found it interesting that you and Rob both took that as a to put some
as a flaw. Yeah,
as a flaw.
And I don't think that ever really came into play in combat for me because
not for you, but certainly for Rob it did.
Yeah. All of our combats for Rexo specifically went, oh, this one went really well. Oh, no, this one went really badly. And I think I'm like 3 for 2 in this one was really easy and, oh, no, I'm dead. So, yeah, but I took that specifically to offset another character thing that I had taken. I did not realize that that I would never actually use it. The mischief check. I actually took a perk that gave me a +2 to success value on any given mischief check. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what a mischief check was at the time, but I figured this will probably come up. So I wanted to kind of balance those out where overconfident, but it also means that when you get into those situations, overconfidence can sometimes lead to accidentally sort of bullying your way into success. Just, you will fall before my dinosaur. Oh, crap, will we?
Rob, what about you? What's your character's background that we may have missed in the story?
Oh, no, there's no missing anything. I was as blatantly Ash Ketchum as I could be. Like, to the point where when I told John what I wanted to have for a
your
character
avatar.
For my avatar, it was I just need palette swap Ash Ketchum with this thing instead of a Pikachu. Like he's got his mom back at home doing whatever she actually does when she's not on screen. Like every single beat is like, I'm totally not Ash Ketchum, guys. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rodrigo's the one that ended up with Togepi. So,
yeah. Ash didn't end up with Togepi. Misty did.
Yep, that's right. All right, Misty. Tell us about anything that we need to know about Narcissus. The name's a little on the nose, but yeah.
Yeah. Everything you wanted to know about Narcissus. So first off, I came up with the name Narcissus Mandragora because I thought that Dutch might die in the Call of Cthulhu or in the Actum Cthulhu game, and I was like, if I have to come back as a wizard, I need to have a wizardy name. And then Dutch didn't die. The spoilers. And so I was like, well, I still have this name, so I made a little boy wizard around it, like very inspired, like a little bit of Damien from the Omen, a little bit of like Clarion thrown in there. Yeah. I also made up his like some other members of his family.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The reason why he took a moniker is because both of his siblings have monikers. His sister Psyche Mandragora is the storm demon, and his brother Polyphemus Mandragora is the eye.
Okay.
Wow.
I thought maybe you built your character off of the that little wizard guy from the Spyro's Adventures, the bald-headed guy with the
Chaos?
eye shade. Is that his name?
Yeah,
yeah.
With Invader Zim's voice, yes.
Oh, sure. There is like, that's the thing is like I did kind of make Narcissus to be like a villainous character,
Mm-hmm.
And once we started playing, I was like, that's kind of not gonna fly. Like, I don't want him to be mean to these guys. I took a flaw that was like his family, like he's like infamous. His family is like notorious for like making dark pacts with evil entities or whatever. Brian never hit me hard enough with that, I think.
I kind of thought about ending the game with you getting a phone call from your family saying that they woken something up in the woods and need your help.
Yeah. So
I thought about, I just decided to make it a bit more just a positive.
Sure. So there's just only so much room in a game to do certain things.
Yeah. Well, especially when we know it's a short game, a short story.
Yeah.
Where we have a limited time on this. Brian, I'm curious about all the horrible children that you created.
Horrible children. I don't know. I just was coming up with different, kids, largely to kind of showcase some of the other classes that you guys didn't pick. Even more so just to showcase all the different monsters that then you all couldn't take.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So did you create any of those specifically to counter our characters and creatures?
No, not really. I mean, about the closest is probably Nadia, just because you guys seem to have a lot of fire creatures. So I feel like we need to have some ice creatures in here, but I didn't really look for things that would specifically, counteract fire abilities. It's just, let's get what do we not have here? There's a lot of cool desert monsters. Let's throw a guy from the desert here and have him bring some. Yeah.
So the final question then for everybody is, would you play this game again? Brian, would you GM this game again, or would you rather be a player?
I would love to be a player. If someone else is willing to run this for me, that'd be awesome.
Okay. All right. Rodrigo.
100% I would play this again. 70% I would run this. I'd have to really find an angle that I wanted to play with the game. And I mean, you guys have received and read through the dissertation that I gave you guys on Lancer. So obviously there would be a lot of there would be some serious Rodrigo to that game.
You'd be making up your own region.
Yeah. It would be something very different, and I would be okay, for this game, I need you guys all to be adults because this is the direction that the game is going, or not. It would be something. It would be it would have a hard pitch of we are doing this. You guys are a traveling band, or you guys are magnificent sevening a town with your monsters or whatever.
Oh,
right?
no, that would be
it would be
thing,
it would be rad. So it would have to be something like that, and then see what you guys make or whatever.
I think I'm 55-45. 55% would play again. I think it would depend on the pitch of the game, right? So if Rodrigo said, "Hey, I'm doing Magnificent 7 with Monster Wrangler," I'd be, that'd be a lot of fun. But I think coming back as a kid, especially with my concerns earlier on about, my kid could die, that's kind of horrible. Yeah. I don't know. It would really just depend. It's a good system. It's it's potentially a lot more fun. But I just don't know. Matthew?
Oh yeah, I'd play it again. I would say that if we had to express it numerically, I'm maybe 90210 but I think that the main draw for me was everybody getting a chance to do something that both they're good at, but also, did everybody break a little bit of new territory. And, game after game after game, we get into this and everybody goes kind of into different roles and we actually adjust for each other. So it's always fun to see that balance in play. And a Monster Wrangler game with Brian as a player, given the absolute joy that Brian had trying to crush us with evil children and their evil monsters, I feel like that could be definitely something I'm on board for. But yeah, I'd play this again in a minute.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm at a 95% I would play it again. There's that 5% like the game is getting pitched as like the exact opposite of what I want, or it's like, hey, I'm running this for 6 people. I'm like, you have fun with that.
Yeah.
If you're running Monster Wrangler for 6 people, then you need to have 3 trainers and 3 monsters.
Mm-hmm. I could see that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I didn't really have any, like the bank combat was a lot of fun. I didn't feel like anything was slowed down by the number of players or anything because we were all kind of tuned in at that point.
That was like a lot of things. We were already like we were all familiar with our monsters by that point, and I think Brian was like, "Oh, like part of why some of these combats have felt this way or that way is because they're too small." It's like if you just give them more space, as like again, Cackles can move 50 feet in a round, right? Like there are monster abilities. Like if we're fighting in a small place, which is its own thing, like everybody is constantly within the radius of everybody else's abilities. Like if we spread it out, that like, and I would say the next evolution of that would be adding stuff like difficult terrain, like blocking terrain, right? Stuff like that to be like, okay, like force those monster interactions to not be 0 or 100%, to be like, oh, can I get like a 45% efficiency out of this thing that I'm trying to do here, and actually like put some English on Rob's turkey to get him to go in the direction that we need.
Yeah. So Brian, good job again. Thanks for being a GM. It's always fun when you do these games because you're really creative and come up with a lot of stuff. So I really enjoyed that. And this is an enjoyable game for a 1.0 game. This is really solid, and I'm hoping that people out there will check it out.
Agreed.
All right. Yeah. Thanks everybody for checking us out. Next week, we are going to start a game called Lancer. Rodrigo, would you like to tease the audience on what we can expect when we sit down to play a Rodrigo Lancer game?
Yes. So this is a game that I've prepared a lot for. I wrote most of a setting for it. I kind of ran out of time, but that's okay. There are multiple factions. The players each belong to a faction, so there's going to be a lot to keep track of. If you remember listening to the Void Saga and you were like, this lore, like expect some of that, except with a lot more robots and lasers and a lot fewer. Actually, there were plenty of robots and lasers in the Void Saga, so expect some of the stuff that you already like.
Yeah, and if people don't know what Lancer is, give us a log line for Lancer.
Lancer is a tactical RPG game about robot pilots, basically piloting giant robots. It's I like to say it's about piloting giant robots in the future and also for the future.
Yeah, very cool. There you go. So we'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen, with Lancer right here on Critical Hit. Critical Hit is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC, and is produced and edited by me, Steven Schleicher. If you have thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, drop us an email at podcast@majorspoilers.com. If you want to discuss Critical Hit with other Critical Hit fans, be sure to join the Major Spoilers Discord. You can join it for free. There's a link in the show notes. Get into that Critical Hit channel and talk to your heart's content. If you're looking for character sheets, we've got those too. Point your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.